Sales in 2025 is different than at any other stage that we've had. And this might upset a few people, but I think it needs to be said pretty clearly and pretty publicly that most of the sales advice that we're seeing now is massively outdated. And in some cases, quite a few cases, what it's actually doing is increasing resistance rather than reducing it in the sales process. So if you feel like you're continuously chasing people, it's not necessarily your fault, but it is your responsibility to move forward from here. Because if you're following advice that simply doesn't work in 2025, and this is really the uncomfortable truth, the majority of the people that are teaching it aren't on the front line of sales. All they're doing is coaching calls. They're not actively, proactively coaching people and finding new ways. They're teaching a theory that they copied from someone else, who took from someone else, who took from someone else it probably really worked for. And that might have been a book that was wrote in 1977, 1997, 1907. And if you're wondering why your prospects have changed, why the objections sound different, why people's show-up rates are dropping, why it feels more like therapy than persuasion, today I want to sort of help you understand why. And once you understand it, you'll never see sales the same way again. So in this breakdown, in this video, I want to show the truth, go behind the curtain about modern sales, but not the hype, not the recycled advice, not the motivational rah-rah one-liners. I want to give you a complete breakdown on how buyers are actually thinking in 2025, and more importantly, what they're responding to. What turns them off instantly, and we'll give you the same framework that we've done for a lot of companies, and this is the same that's helped solar companies go from 40 grand a month to £250,000 a month. Coaches, consultants, experts, recruitment, inbound, outbound. This can work for all these avenues. So if you sell a service, if you sell something over £3,000, if you sell on phone or Zoom, home appointments, consultations of any of kind, this is going to probably be one of the most useful and simplified videos you're going to watch. Now, before we get into the training, let me ask you this. Be honest. How many times have you watched, especially recently, a sales influencer, TikTok, whatever it will be, and thought, none of that's not going to work? And now it's because a lot of the stuff that's being put out now is designed more for entertainment, and it's missing key indicators and key points that are actually going to help get the conversion over. And what this actually means is if you do what you see and just the snippet in the free video, it's not necessarily always going to work. There's context behind everything, and you're not getting that context behind it. And this is why real buyers who are already skeptical, distracted, cautious, overwhelmed, bombarded by options already. Now, every buyer today has unlimited choice. There's thousands of companies out there that sell what you sell or close enough. And a real power dynamic has now changed in sales that's dramatically not in your favor. So what we want to do is we want to be able to give that power back to you, not through teaching manipulation, not through pressure, not through tactics, not through tricks, but actually by showing you how to lead a buyer in a way that creates trust, that creates clarity, that creates certainty and confidence. Because when a buyer feels clear, they buy. When they feel confused, they delay. And here's what we're going to cover today. Number one, the real reason traditional sales stopped working after 2022. Next, the modern buyer psychology shift that most people still don't understand, and business owners. That'll change everything for you, I reckon. And then number three, the full sort of breakdown of the Conversations to Clients framework we've been using, and give you step by step, word for word, the biggest mistake that salespeople make in 2025. It kills the sale before it even starts. So I want to dive into this, and it's a casual environment because it's a relaxed sort of training. I don't want you to sit on this and me pitch you into our products and service. You want to find out, help yourself, go to tuster.co.uk and watch a video and all that stuff. But this is more about giving you exposure to different thinkings, different ideas and different plans that you can hopefully absorb and go and implement out there. And I want you to understand this, and you need to understand the rise of the noise. Because attention, not money, not motivation, not the economy, attention is still going to be that number one currency 2025, 2026. And I want you to think about your own life for a moment. Like how many messages you get each day, how many emails do you get a day, how many phone calls do you get a day, how many people do you talk to every day, how many adverts do you see every single day, how many things you walk past and you don't even notice them. How many times do you watch 3 seconds of a video before you swipe off it? Your buyers are doing exactly the same, and they're exhausted. They're overstimulated. And when someone is overwhelmed, they literally just shut down. They almost tune out from what's going on. They protect their energy. They almost become defensive, for want of a better word. So when a salesperson then shows up using some old school tactics, they instantly lose. Immediately, it just elevates the level of resistance in the prospect. Because when you sound like every other salesperson, they instantly are going to lose. They're going to try and force and push and coerce and convince and pressure or hype. Bang, you're out. Buyers today don't respond to pressure. They respond to clarity. Buyers don't respond to persuasion, they more respond to leadership. And buyers today don't respond to information, they respond to interpretation. And that leads us into actually probably the biggest shift happening right now, and that's because buyers, they don't always choose the best option now. They'll buy the clearest option. So I'll give you a breakdown. We live in a world now where there's too many choices. And too many choices actually you'll be fine with. So the brain will take shortcuts. People will choose what feels easiest to understand, easiest to decide on, and the safest probably emotionally. And this is why some businesses with average products make far more money than businesses with incredible products. It's not because they're necessarily better, but they are clearer. And this is the part most people, sales and business owners that sell, get wrong. And they almost you don't understand it in the right way. We seem to think that the buyer is analyzing everything logically, but they think like they're going to think about comparing features and benefits, specs and prices, guarantees, options, details. They don't. They're not comparing 20 different things. They're asking one simple question. Which option feels the easiest, the safest, and the clearest? So if a buyer's confused, they will never choose you. If a buyer's overwhelmed, they will not choose you. If a buyer cannot see the path clearly from their eyes, they will never choose you. And this brings us to the most important part of this video, how you create that clarity itself. And that's what we did with Conversations to Clients. Just think about what it's called. It's called Conversations to Clients. Take conversations and turn them into clients. Turn more conversations into clients. It doesn't try and pressure someone into a sale. It doesn't try to overpower resistance. It doesn't try and out-talk, out-logic. It doesn't try to out-persuade the prospect. Instead, it's about helping them to think clearly. Because when someone thinks clearly and they make the decision that's already right for them, I mean, let's break it down step for step, word for word. Step one, think of it like this, put a pre-frame in place. This part, 90% of people, they're still not bothering to do. They ignore it, they overlook it, they don't work through it. Every sale is won or lost before the full conversation even begins. And most people think the sale starts when the prospect picks up the phone or joins the Zoom call, and it's completely wrong. The sale starts the moment the prospect forms their first impression of you. The message that they see, the video they receive, the way you're positioning the call, the expectation that you set, the tone that you create. And I'll give you an example. You're watching this now. If you're watching this video for the next 15 minutes, for example, might go on longer, and you go, wow, that guy gets it. You might go, bang, I want to get more of the idea. If you watch a video and go, I hate this guy, you're not going to go any further. And if your pre-frame is unclear, the prospect shows up guarded. If your frame or pre-frame is weak, they'll show up skeptical. If your pre-frame is confusing, they show up defensive. So imagine if they're defensive, confused, skeptical, weak. But when your pre-frame is strong, when it makes the buyer feel like this person just gets me, this person isn't like the others, and this call is actually going to help me get rid of my problems. And that brings you into step 2, and that's for problem clarity. Most salespeople, they jump into the pitch far too early, like far too early. They're so eager to explain what they offer, how it works, how it's so great, and why the prospects should buy, that they skip the most important things. You got to understand what the real problem is and the real cost of that problem. If a buyer doesn't feel fully understood, emotionally connected with the problem, your solution will always feel optional. You can't sell a solution when the buyer's unclear. So it's your job not to interrogate them. Your job is to help them think. Help them see what they've been avoiding. Help them articulate what's actually going on. Help them understand how big the problem really is. Here's the magic. The moment the buyer clearly sees the solution and it becomes obvious, you stop needing to persuade. Stop needing to push, and they start selling themselves. And that puts you into step 3. Prescription. Not pitch, prescription. You are the expert. You're not there to offer options like a waiter. You're there to diagnose and prescribe, like a doctor would. A doctor does not say, here's option A, B, C, D, E, which one do you want to go with? They say, here's what you need to go and do. This is what's going to happen next. That's exactly how your prescription should sound. Calm, clear, direct, confident, certain. Here's what's going to happen. Here's why it's the right path. Here's the plan. Here's how we're going to do it together. That level of clarity is extremely rare in today's sales environment. That's why it converts to such a high level. And this brings you into step 4, which is objection transformation. Notice I'm not saying objection handling. We all know what objection handling is, but I want you to think about things differently. Handling is what the old school salespeople do. Transforming is what modern salespeople do. When someone raises an objection, the words are never really typically the objection. The real objection is underneath. It's identity-based, belief-based, it's fear-based. When someone says, I need to think about it, the really reason they're saying it is they don't feel completely certain. When someone says, I need to ask my partner, the truth is they don't feel confident explaining the decision. When someone says, I don't have the money, the truth is the value is so unclear or the outcome feels uncertain. Your job is not to force them past an objection. Your job is to help them transform the belief that created the objection to start with. Because if it disappears, that's going to happen because the belief has disappeared. That brings you into 5. Number 5, decision. This isn't closing. Closing is what the amateurs do. Decision is what professionals lead with. So decision is the final step. That's where the buyer chooses the future path they want to take. Your job is to help them make a decision that aligns with the outcome they told you they want, not the fear they're stuck in right now. When you guide someone to a clean, confident decision, the close becomes far more natural, far more calm, almost simple. Now, before we wrap this little video up, I want to give you one final thing. And this is genuinely something that the majority of you just won't do. And it's free. And if you take nothing else from this video, it's this one simple fact. You're talking too much. That's it. Most salespeople talk far too much. Selling isn't performing, selling isn't explaining, selling isn't demonstrating how clever you are. Selling is about diagnosing. You only get a diagnosis through good inquiry, good questioning, getting the other person talking. Selling is about creating insight. Selling is about leadership. The more you're talking, the less they are thinking. The less they think, the less they're able to buy. So this is your action plan. And I genuinely want you to do this today. Number one, fix your pre-frame. Create clarity before the call. Number two, rewrite all your questions. Your questions will create or destroy the conversations. Number three, build a follow-up system that sounds human, not like a robot. Number four, stop trying to convince. Start trying to clarify. And if you want to go deeper, if you want actual scripts and frameworks and messaging and coaching and all the other stuff, all you've got to do, I'll put a link in the bottom, or go to tusta.co.uk, tusta, tusta.co.uk/work with me. There's a 10-minute video there. You can watch it without even getting on a call. And see how we've increased these people's revenue. See how we've took people from 20% to 70%. See how we took people from 30% to 90% last month. It's actually 89. Now, if you found this video of use, if you want to see more of this stuff, comment your biggest takeaway and share it, subscribe. Because I want to do more of this, but I want to make sure it's what you want to see as well. I'll see you in the next video.